China's city of Zhengzhou has ordered its population of nearly 13 million to undergo a COVID test after several infections were detected. Residents have been living under a partial lockdown for the past fortnight. China has ramped up COVID measures to stamp out the virus ahead of the Winter Olympics and the Lunar New Year. Strict measures remain in the cities of Yuzhou and Xi'an, forcing residents to be confined to their homes. Authorities have confirmed a total of 91 cases in the country as it continues to pursue its COVID zero policy. Well, joining me now live to discuss this is Washington Post China reporter Eva Dao. Eva, thank you so much for joining us. Firstly, what sort of conditions are residents in these cities facing?
Yes, thanks for having me here. China is facing currently its largest COVID outbreak.
And in the minds of Chinese officials, it's something very serious. The number of cases is quite low compared to many countries. For instance, in the city of Xi'an, which is the one under the most severe lockdown right now, there's been a total of some 1,800 cases, which is right now fewer than 100 new cases a day. But for this, this is far more than anywhere else in the country. And with a population of 1.4 billion people, authorities are very concerned that any spread could get out of control. So people are living under very strict lockdown conditions in places like Xi'an right now.
Well, how dire is the situation? I was reading a Washington Post article, and that's reporting that a woman who was 8 months pregnant miscarried, and she was refused care at a hospital until she tested negative. The situation seems to be deteriorating.
Yes, the rules are very strict and inflexible for having these health codes to be able to leave your home, to go to the hospital, things like that. And so, unfortunately, there have been these reports, like that woman who miscarried, reports of people having difficulties getting food deliveries and other supplies because it's a city of 13 million people that was completely locked down with very little preparation in advance.
Has this policy of COVID zero worked for China in the past?
It's been effective over the past 2 years in preventing large-scale infections in China. So I think from the perspective of Chinese leaders, it has been a success and is something that they speak proudly about, that they have avoided the large numbers of infections that many other countries have had, especially because the vaccines they're using are not as effective as the ones being used in the West. But it has come at the human cost of, the sufferings and inconveniences of people enduring these kind of lockdown periods.
What happens after the Winter Olympics? Obviously, China is very much so focused on this policy ahead of that event. So what happens after?
Yes, exactly. In the run-up to the Olympics, things are particularly tense. There probably will be some easing of these measures after the Olympics, but in general, even after the Olympics, this is an important political year for China, a landmark year in that later in the year, Xi Jinping, the leader, is expected to begin an unprecedented third term. And so throughout this year, it's going to be one that officials at the national and local levels will be very nervous to have things get out of control in their jurisdiction. So we probably can expect to see pretty strict controls on coronavirus throughout the year in China.
Certainly be keeping an eye on this. A very fascinating situation outplaying in China there. Eva Dao, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.